Welcome back to the Truth Lab. In the past 3 videos, we've been discussing how atheism hijacked science. Today, we're going to look at how and why the scientific method was developed. And if you are the truth seeker I think you are, by the end of this video, you'll clearly see why any ideology-driven science is dangerous. Let's get right into it. The scientific protocol was designed to protect truth from ideology, not to become one. To understand why that matters, we need to briefly revisit how and why the scientific method was developed in the first place. The scientific method did not emerge to promote atheism, materialism, or any worldview at all. It emerged because humans are exceptionally good at projecting beliefs onto reality and confidently being wrong. For centuries, explanations of nature were dominated by authority, tradition, and unchecked philosophical speculation. Ideas were asserted, defended, and inherited, but rarely tested. The problem wasn't belief itself. The problem was the absence of a mechanism to correct belief when it conflicted with reality. Early figures like Francis Bacon, Galileo Galilei, and Isaac Newton were reacting against this very problem. Their concern was not theological, it was epistemological. They were asking a simple but revolutionary question. How do we prevent our assumptions, preferences, and ideologies from distorting what we observe? The answer was not to replace one belief system with another, but to discipline inquiry itself. Observation before explanation, testing before conclusion, repeatability over rhetoric, correction over certainty, and, critically, no pre-approved list of acceptable explanations. The scientific method does not ask what explanations are allowed, it asks what best explains the data. That distinction is everything. When ideology enters science, it doesn't announce itself loudly, it enters quietly by forbidding certain answers before the investigation even begins. When explanations are ruled out in advance, the method is no longer protecting truth from bias, it has become a vehicle for bias. When Thomas Huxley argued that it was improper for a man of science to say he believed in God, those words didn't fall on deaf ears. When influential figures speak, their views don't remain personal opinions, they shape professional norms. Over time, those norms become unwritten rules, passed down through training, institutions, and peer expectations. In other words, it becomes the culture. Science itself wasn't founded on atheism. Many of its earliest institutions were built by believers, but it's not unreasonable to observe that as philosophical commitments shifted, so did what was considered acceptable within the discipline. That's not evidence replacing belief, that's culture influencing conclusions. So, here's the question. Are most modern scientists atheists because the evidence demands it, or because dissent carries professional cost? Comment below. Science is powerful precisely because it can be wrong. Ideology survives by insisting it cannot. So when a philosophical claim like the cosmos is all there is, all there ever was, and all there will ever be, is treated as a scientific conclusion, despite no possible experiment being able to test the totality of the past or the limits of the future, we are no longer doing science. We are doing metaphysics under the authority of science. And because scientists are widely perceived as authorities on reality itself, when an authoritative figure declares that there is no God, the public believes him, even though his scientific authority gives him no greater access to that knowledge than anyone else. When the majority of the public accepts that claim, society becomes functionally godless, and we all know the consequences of a worldview that denies ultimate accountability, a diminished value for human life, followed by rising levels of senseless violence in schools, churches, and public spaces. And to be clear, this is not an argument that atheists are inherently moral. Many atheists live outwardly moral lives. The issue is not behavior, it is justification. When individuals explicitly deny any ultimate moral accountability, some will eventually act as though such accountability exists. We've seen this play out in real life. Take the case of Anders Breivik, who openly identified as an atheist and meticulously justified the mass murder of innocent people through ideology and personal rationalization. He did not believe he would ever stand before a higher moral authority, only history.
That is what happens when moral accountability is reduced to human opinion alone. And when authoritative voices reinforce the idea that there is no ultimate accountability, the consequences don't remain theoretical, they become real and sometimes catastrophic. But for you, this hijacking is even more dangerous, because if the Judeo-Christian God exists, every person will be held accountable for their actions. Eternity itself is at stake when people blindly follow scientists outside the limits of their expertise. You owe it to yourself and to your family to make sure that what you believe is actually true. When someone with authority in one domain speaks confidently on matters where they have none and is still treated as an authority, they become a detriment to society, not an asset. This is the ultimate danger of atheism hijacking science. If you found this video thought-provoking, consider subscribing for more insight into science, philosophy, and theology.